So riding high off of the massive hit of Airplane, the directing team,
Zaz.
Zaz is an acronym for the writing team that was behind that, Zuckers, Abrams, and Zucker. They made Police Squad, which is one of the funniest shows of all time, but unfortunately that was canceled within a season. Then they decided to make Top Secret, which was an over-the-top, wild parody of Elvis movies. But they made one of the smartest casting decisions ever in history. They cast then unknown actor Val Kilmer in the lead role as Nick Rivers. It is incredibly surreal to see the most underrated Batman in this goofy of a comedy. If you've never seen a Zaz movie, they don't really make these types of comedies anymore. And I don't mean like, ugh. Things were so much better back in my day. First of all, this movie came out 8 years before I was born, so this is in no way my day. This over-the-top parody film that throws a ton of visual gags out at you every second. These kind of movies, unfortunately, were murdered in their sleep by trash like Epic Movie, Seltzer Burger garbage. Back in the day, particularly when the Zaz team were making these movies, they were some of the most reliably funny things. Part of the fun of it is that they were explicitly parodying something specific. In this case, Elvis Presley movies and World War II resistance films. It does take place in East Germany in the 50s, but they don't seem to let that get in the way of their fun. There's no real point in going further into the plot because this is a movie that's made up of a collection of gags. The fun of these sorts of movies is to see all the weird, inventive things that they come up with. There are unfortunately a few jokes, I think, that have aged not great, and that's kind of the unfortunate thing with every comedy that's a little older. One complaint about this movie is that they do an extended Blue Lagoon parody, which is a movie nobody gives a shit about anymore, and does feel like a thing that an Epic movie may have done, even though the jokes in that bit are really funny. My favorite genre of movie is comedy, and it's sometimes hard to talk about these sorts of movies because I do feel it's best to go in mostly blind and experience the weird, surreal jokes that they like to pull off. It's honestly a delight to see these sorts of movies because they really don't make these types of movies anymore. Like there was Barb and Star Go to Del Mar, which is a great modern example of these types of movies. Seriously, that movie is so great. Jamie Dornan does an elaborate musical number. You know, I've done a lot of off in my life. One of my favorite movies is This Is Spinal Tap. I say this out of affection, but I feel like the reason we don't see this stuff anymore is, well, one, the movies did legitimately poison the well for these sorts of things. That can't be discounted.
But
These sorts of movies, they need to be written. Most comedy movies now heavily rely on improv, and it often feels like, I'm not behind the scenes, so I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, that they don't really write a script. They write a loose outline and just have the actors improvise. And you can get a lot of funny lines that way, but you can't get elaborate jokes with like filmmaking and stuff. It's not that it's bad. It's just, you used to have variety in art. And in some ways, it feels like maybe because every major studio is coalescing into one, that we're losing that all things must be one thing now. I don't know. Comedy on TV is still really good.